Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on Dating Today, a conversation about modern dating issues. My name is Brock Olson. I am joined by a very special friend and guest, Cody Sims. Cody Sims is one of my good friends. We connected, about a year or so ago, something like that?
Year and a half.
Yeah, I've been watching his growth. I've been watching him on social media, on TikTok, all sorts of things like that. And I thought he would be fantastic for today's episode, which is about the rebranding of modern masculinity.
Add it up.
Thank you again for joining us on Dating Today. Was just saying how honored I am to have my good friend Cody Sims joining for the podcast. I have been watching Cody for a couple of years, but we actually got connected about a year ago, and I thought he would be phenomenal for today's topic, talking about modern masculinity, what it looks like, men's stories, men's journeys, how we become the best versions of ourselves. Cody is one of the most inspirational people who I know, and his influence is actually exploding all over social media. You're making a lot of ripples in the male space, and for I think all the really good reasons. Tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, Cody. Where are you from?
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Brock. I'm born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and there at Erlanger Hospital. My family lived in a little town called Trenton, Georgia. Back then, mom and dad were married 52 years. I'm an only child. My mom had me when she was 16.
Okay.
And my dad was 20. They stayed together 52 years. Lost my dad about 5 years ago to cancer. And mom's still living and doing fairly well. And so I grew up in that town, lived there, the early part of my life, and ended up getting married at 20 and was married 27 years. And we had 3 children together. They are, of course, grown and gone now on their own journeys.
Doing their own thing.
Doing their own thing, and have a grandson that will be 1 year old next month.
I love that.
So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
A little bit about you. Okay. So Trenton, Georgia, it's a beautiful area. Beautiful. I love riding my motorcycle through there. It's like just God's country. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So you grew up in that area and you've been in Chattanooga pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
What is that you have been doing this whole time? Obviously you got married, you had the family, but what about your personal life? What about your professional life? Tell us a little bit about that. Because
sure.
I think that has a lot to do with the man that's sitting in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is part of my Becoming series as well, to where I open up about who I am. And I think it's very important for us to grow. In order to grow as men, we have to be able to relate to someone that is, maybe we know. We can grow from that type of relationship more than, say, I could grow from Matthew McConaughey, who I admire.
Right.
So but for me. My dad was blue collar. My dad was an alcoholic for many years. He did finally go sober. And when I went into high school, I went to high school there in Dade County, which was Northwest Georgia High School.
Okay.
Way back when. Graduated in '87, and you can do the math on that. But it was a while ago. And I was a jock. I was a 4-year letterman in football and track and weightlifting, and popular kid. Finally found my identity in sports, where I had no self-esteem growing up in a home like I did. Not a lot of affection in my home. They were young when they got married. Hell, they were doing the best they could.
Right.
Can't fault anybody. We do the best we can.
Sure.
But didn't have an identity until I found sports, and that's where I found me, and that gave me passion and purpose, and then friends and such, and then stayed in that town, and my parents couldn't afford to send me to college.
Okay.
So I think that's important to know as well. So I don't have a college degree, and that used to bother me years ago, but now I'm so proud to say that I don't.
I didn't know that this whole time.
No,
I didn't know that.
I went about a year and a half.
Okay.
I'll tell it real quick. But so right out of high school, I had 6 offers to go play college football, or I wanted to be a Marine.
Okay.
That's what those were my choices.
That was it. Okay.
And my mom said, Cody, we can't afford to send you to college. You're going to have to make a decision. And she said, you don't need to take that football offer, because what if you blow a knee out? What if you do whatever? Then you can't go on. Then we can't
sounds
afford.
like Mom.
Yeah, she's looking out for me. And about the Marine Corps, she said, your daddy told you that those recruiters are going to lie to you. You shouldn't do that. Now, anyway, about all this time, or about that same time, I got a call from a lady at the local bank. She called, and I thought she was calling for my mom, and she said, hey, no, Cody, I'm calling for you. She said, we're looking for someone that we can train. The bank president wants someone he can train to be in management here at the bank, and we'll pay for your schooling if you go at night. And, I turned that job down, and I told my mom about it, and she said, you better get her back on the phone. And I got her back on the phone. I did what Mom said, and they hired me right out of high school. I went there, worked there for 7 years, started getting going to college there at night. Went for about a year, and then met a young lady and fell in love.
Okay.
And I stopped. I stopped going to college thinking I'd go back. Had about a year and a half in, and then we got married. We were married 27 years. I was 20, she was 21. And so I never went back and got that.
That's so interesting. So do banks still do that today? Like recruiting in that way?
I think they do.
Okay.
But then I was there at the bank, and just it wasn't for me. I wanted something more for myself. And I knew that I wanted to have a family, and I wanted to be able to bring my wife out of the workforce and bring her into the home to raise our kids.
Got it.
So it was very important to me. As a Christian man, I wanted that. She wanted that. So we agreed on that.
Good.
Well, I knew I had to step up and find some way to be able to fund that.
Okay.
So I'd done my own investing, started, researching, and then, I just was immersed into this investing thing and thought, what if I could do this for a living? And it hit me one day. And then I thought, I don't have a college degree. No one's going to hire me. Well, I went ahead and tried anyway. Threw my hat in the ring, ended up getting an interview, going through several interviews.
To be a stockbroker?
To be with the same company that I still own my business with today. That's 31 years ago now. And I still own that business today with that same company. So I threw my hat in the ring, got hired, had to pass all the exams. One was a 10-hour exam. It was brutal. Brutal is the word. Anyway, and that's where I found my passion, because as an Enneagram 3, Wing 2, I aspire to help others. And I feel like I'm achieving when I help others.
Right.
So that's a career path that was perfect for me, because I could help others. They win, I win. And that's what I've done for 31 years. And
wow. I never knew that was your story. That's almost a pursuit of happiness type of. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Will Smith. I did not know. That is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you did that and still do for the past 2.5, almost 3 decades.
Yeah, 31 years, and still own the practice. My team there in Chattanooga.
In Chattanooga, okay.
Yeah, in Chattanooga. And so I have 4 ladies that work in the practice, and we run it still. And
okay.
I still work.
Carrying out your vision.
Right.
And your principles and values.
Taking care of our clients.
Delegated it very nicely. Okay.
It's wonderful, yeah.
Okay. Well, so you told us that you got married young and you raised a family very successfully. Marriage came to an end at some point. You said most of it was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first 20 years, we were the perfect couple. We had that beautiful young, perfect marriage. And from the outside looking in, every marriage is perfect, right? You think, they've got the perfect marriage.
Right.
And we did. We had 20 beautiful years of marriage. Our first 20 were great. I'll never change that story. That narrative will never change. The next 5 years were bad. And then the last 2 were miserable. Mm-hmm. And that's part of growth. We had 3 children. It's not their fault. They were very active. We were very active in their lives. She was a great mother. I was a great father. We poured into them, and then we lost each other along the way. And that's a learning, that many don't see until it's too late.
Yeah.
we own 5 acres that we manicured every week.
Yeah.
I cut that grass every week, or my son did, or sometimes she did.
Sure.
But all of that takes away from being able to have time, quality time that's needed.
So true.
And I take ownership for that. As the husband, the leader of the home, I wish I could have pumped the brakes on that and said, hey, let's get rid of this place. But we had a pool, we had the creek, we had Lookout Mountain. Everyone wanted to come to our house. It was a place to be many, many times. So,
sure.
Anyway, you learn things a lot, but we lost each other along the way. Plus, we were kids when we got married.
Sure.
So when we had changed, I was not the same man at 47 that I was at 20.
Sure.
And she was not the same woman at
Sure.
48 that she was at 21.
It's so interesting you saying that, because I think that a lot of guys who have been in marriages or long-term relationships, when they don't work out, I can tell such a maturity in the guys when they take the accountability of their part in the, if you want to say, relationship failing, because obviously their objective is longevity. If it doesn't have longevity, it fails. When they take the accountability and saying, I didn't see this danger, I didn't see this issue, I compromised here, I made a concession here, I made 1,000 concessions. That is so incredibly important to masculine growth.
Right.
Like brutal, blistering accountabilities. I had to say this. I wasn't a good husband. And when I realized that, I was finally able to start rebuilding myself. Because until you do that, you're building on top of a very shaky foundation. Very, very shaky. But once you acknowledge that your part in a relationship not working out, which was mostly your responsibility, and you just said this, as men, we're supposed to be leading that relationship. If the relationship fails, a lot of it's on our shoulders. It really is. Yes, we can have bad partners. We all can. But I've really, really sunken my teeth into this fact. Our women are a representation of us. And if they are being combative, if they're not happy, if they're being disrespectful, these are symptoms of a negative environment that we are supposed to be in charge of creating. So if they're like this, if the relationship's not working out, if they're, I'm going to say this term, but I don't really mean it. It's just for the sake, misbehaving, if you will. If they're doing these things, it's because we're fucking up.
Yeah.
They are a direct representation of our ability to cultivate and engineer a relationship successfully.
Yeah.
And when we can take the accountability and say, we weren't good partners, we weren't good relationship engineers, we weren't good husbands.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Come on, brother.
From right there.
That's what we need to hear.
It's about from right there. Now you can start building yourself. Until then, you are going to be stagnant. You have to take accountability for the role that you're playing. You have to. And I love that you just said that there were things that you weren't seeing. Now hindsight's 2020.
Oh my God, I can see so much. So the first 20 years, I was a good husband.
Yeah.
But then I was in a role that the world had told me who to be. And so, getting married so young, I started evolving, right?
Sure.
So
hopefully, yes.
And we're supposed to evolve, right? I don't want to be the same guy I was. And as a Gemini, and actually I'm a triple Gemini, sun, moon, and rising.
Okay.
So I'm all about reinvention and evolving, recreation. Okay, it's just my nature. I can't just stay the same.
Right.
I've got to be better.
Yeah.
For me. And so
you're a high performer too. So it's not even just you want to do that. You want to do it quick and as well as possible.
Yeah. But I've learned to pace myself too, not grow too fast.
There you go.
That came with maturity. But so I had evolved to a person that I didn't like myself anymore. Okay. So I wasn't happy with the version of me in that marriage in that next 5 years. And, she wanted a divorce. I wanted a divorce. We went to therapy for almost 2 years. We couldn't get lined up, and then it just got miserable. Okay. I wasn't happy. I was seeking for, who I really was.
Sure.
And she was dealing with some things as well. That, from her past.
You were like mid 40s, late 40s?
Yeah.
Right
So
there?
I would have been 20 years in 5, 40, mid 40s. Yeah. Like 45, 43, 4.
Okay.
So yeah, we evolved and changed, and then you get to where it's like, who am I?
Right.
well, I know who I am today. I know exactly who I am today. And it took all that to find me.
Sure.
Okay. And I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
I was having a conversation with a group of men just the other day about that exact experience, and how usually around the age of 40, in the 40s, we have what's called a midlife crisis. And it's not, in my opinion, actually a midlife crisis. It's an
unraveling.
It's an unraveling, and you identify that you have played a role that society said that you should play, and you abandon yourself long time ago, and you're just now like, wait, how long have I been letting this happen? Like almost waking up from the dream.
Yeah.
And you don't realize anything that's supposed to be you. You can't even identify yourself. And so what you see is guys look for that, like around that age, and they start, I'll say, acting out a little bit. They'll do some things like going and buying that sports car. Why do guys do that? Well, they want to feel young. Well, when do they feel like they were their most authentic self? Usually when they're in like their teens. It's like, that's when I knew what I wanted. I loved that car. I had a poster.
Yeah.
So now we revert back to when we felt our most authentic self before we started abandoning ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's why the midlife crisis looks like that. It looks childish because we are trying to get back in touch with our authentic self. And that's the last time we remember being genuinely authentic.
Yeah.
So when you do go through something like that and you're in your mid 40s and you have a family and you're doing all that and you realize, I don't even recognize myself. I'm not happy with who I see in the mirror. Like, how do you handle that? How did you handle that? Because so many men go through this. How did you handle it?
Yeah. Well, that is exactly what my episode 2 in my Becoming series is all about. It's about identity.
Yeah.
Okay. So identity is not, it's not becoming someone new in yourself. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who you had to be. Now that's powerful when you think about it, because there was a time that I was very creative. I was very, this or that, but then I had to go into a role, and I don't look back and regret anything of that. But I went into the husband role, the father role, all that, and so you do that, but then you can lose yourself along the way. So you have to remember who you were. Okay. Yeah. And that's identity. And that's episode 2.
That is so true. And even if, and you said this, even if you wanted a family, even if you wanted to get your wife out of the workforce and you wanted to build this, not centering your identity and having a plan to maintain that, you can want the family and all, and have the relationship everybody seems that looks ideal, but you can still lose yourself.
Oh yeah.
You still can. You can have everything. And if you're not doing things to nurture yourself individually, like away from your family, away from your kids, you will absolutely lose that. And then we see this also as kids start growing and maybe they're about to move out. That's the emptiness nest syndrome. And we're like, oh shoot, I'm no longer like having to do the fatherly or the motherly things. And we have that moment. We're like, oh crap, I don't know who I am anymore. And that's often when people start divorcing as well. Yeah. And when kids start moving out.
It's a painful moment when you realize you don't know who you are. You don't know what you're supposed to do. It's like you're lost. You're trying to find yourself.
Sure.
And then when you do, it's empowering.
Yes.
But then you must evolve from where you were. And sometimes you have to change your environment. Sometimes you have to change your circle. Those are other episodes that I've already released.
So when after you went through your divorce, which was about 8 years or so ago, and then to this moment, what were some crucial steps that helped realign and rekindle your identity? Like, what did you do? How did you become Cody Sims that I see here today, who's actively, he's pursuing modeling, he's doing some acting, he's being influential to so many men, and he's, women even are like, wow, this guy's like really on his purpose. Like when everyone is able to see that, it's undeniable. How have you transitioned from the man who went through that divorce to this man who's confidently living his purpose? How did you do that?
I stopped negotiating with myself, Brock. And so I gave myself permission to step into a higher version of me. And that's scary when you step out into the abyss, right? Into the precipice beyond you, and you can't see, but you know that something's calling you.
Right.
And you have to give yourself permission to do that. That's actually episode 1. That was my first release. And these are all on YouTube under Cody Sims Becoming on YouTube. It's brand new. We've just put that on about a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, your videos they're so inspiring.
So permission is and that's what I say in that. You know, I'm here to give you permission to step into a higher version of yourself. But here's the secret. You got to get out of your own way. And what you've got to do, you've got to show up for your damn self.
Sure.
You've got to think, okay, I've been showing up all my life for everybody else, and I don't regret that.
Sure.
I signed up for that. But damn, I lost myself along the way. What about me? God, this is my life. This is, we get one trip around this thing, right? So what am I doing to show up for myself? And that's where it started for me.
I love that. When you do find what it is that you want to do after a reconstructing of your life and your purpose and your focus, like what were the exact steps? Because you're doing wealth management and like that's kind of like the identity of Cody. Like, what made you think I want to do something that I've never done? But how did you even find that? Like, where did the idea come from?
I took my own advice.
Let
me explain that.
Okay.
So for 31 years, I've been helping men and women, couples, business owners, executives, and all as clients of mine. I've been helping them retire, right? So they come to me for advice and guidance. I plan their whole future from the time they come to me. My team and I do, and then we manage that. They move their money to me. We create portfolios and income streams and asset distribution and management and all the things, right? And then they step into this very scary thing called retirement. And so here's where I took my own advice. For years, I had been helping people get to that point. And then it occurred to me after watching some somewhat fail miserably after they cross that threshold. Okay? Like corporate executives will lose their identity. I'm thinking of one, that managed a major corporation for 35 years, retired, lost his identity, stepped into a world that he was no longer important. He was not the man anymore. Whoa. And he lost himself. He goes into a depression that just wreaked havoc on his retirement. He didn't really have a lot of purpose. And so that's one of many examples, okay? So I began coaching my clients, especially men. And it went like this, okay, Brock, tomorrow is retirement. I know you've got all the honeydews to catch up on at home, and I know you want to work on your golf game, right?
Right.
And I'm not concerned about what you're going to do next week. I'm more concerned about what you're going to do a year from now. Well, what do you mean, Cody? Well, I mean, what's going to give you purpose and passion when you wake up in the morning a year from now? What are you going to be excited about?
Right.
Well, what do you mean? Well, is there something that you do in your life that you're pretty good at, that you can be excellent at if you're really invested in it and focused on it, and maybe even make some money doing it?
Good.
What would that look like? And then ideas began to flow. And, one guy said, well, I like to make baskets. And I said, what do you mean? His wife's sitting there. Well, he makes these gorgeous baskets. They started going to craft shows all over the Southeast, selling the baskets. Another one said, well, I want to do woodworking. And I've got a shop out back, and I want to do that. So they do this, I want to make cufflinks out of coins. I want to do, so people started reinventing themselves. Okay. Now here's the funny part for me, as a triple Gemini, and I'm all about reinvention and growth. I didn't even realize what was happening back when I was coaching people, but I was coaching them to do what is deep in me. And that's to evolve and reinvent. I was telling them, let's find a way to reinvent yourself.
Right.
instead of just retiring and dying. So that's what I did. I took my own advice. I thought, what do I enjoy that I might actually be good at and could make some money at? And then that's where the acting and the modeling came into play.
That is absolutely amazing. That is so amazing, because I personally experienced that same thing. When I went through my divorce, I was 31-ish, and I was a business owner, and I was a husband. And I've told the story before, but I'm sitting in my condo, and I'm no longer a husband. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I was like, okay, I'm no longer a husband, but I am a business owner. And I said to myself, what if I sold my company? Who would I be? And I had no answer. And I was terrified.
No identity.
I had no identity outside of those arbitrary titles.
Yeah.
Societal titles.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I didn't know who I was. And so I had the same discussion, inner monologue. If I were to do something that is deeply passionate to me, which is so funny how this works. We want to help people. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be there for people. And I was like, well, what is really important? It's like, well, I love helping people in an area in which I wasn't very good at. And it's very personal to me to help people work on themselves. And I was like, wow, I've always had people that came to me for advice because I felt like maybe I'm a good listener. Maybe I'm very empathetic. Maybe I'm able to give a nugget of wisdom or just make people feel seen in that moment. And I was like, wow, even while I'm going through my divorce, this is still happening. People are still coming to me for their own comfort. And almost nobody knew I was going through a divorce. So I found myself helping people, and it was healing me. And I was like, wow.
Oh, there we go.
I wonder if I could heal myself for the rest of my life through helping others. And so that's...
I just got cold chills, brother.
And I made the decision in 2016 to do this full time, and actually just had my 10-year anniversary.
10 years.
10 years helping men and women becoming their best selves so they can share the one thing we have one shot at, which is life. To share life with somebody special. That's what I want people to be able to do. And whatever that journey looks like, I want to help guide people. And you're doing the exact same thing. You are being so influential to so many young men who are starving for good mentorship, because there is so much bad advice out there. There's so much toxic, angry, bad men out there giving some of the worst advice, coming from a place of deep hurt. And hearing the way that you speak, knowing what you've gone through, and you didn't go hard right. You're like, I'm going to maintain my authenticity. I'm not going to preach from a place of hurt. I'm going to heal myself, and I'm going to show other people how to do it like me. That's why I feel so aligned with you. And that's why I wanted you here talking to the men and the women who probably don't get to see this side of what masculine rebuilding kind of looks like. They don't really get to hear the thoughts of a man who built a life, had it pushed to the side, and said, I'm going to reinvent. I'm going to redo. Even after 40, even after 50, whatever it is, and it's never too late to reinvent. And I think a lot of people think it is.
I refuse to shrink. And that's the tagline in my logo.
Sure.
For men who refuse to shrink, becoming.
Yeah.
That's
well, and we said this before the cameras came on. One of the most difficult things about reinvention is how many people aren't going to believe it. They're not going to think you're being authentic. They're actually going to think that you're faking, that you're not really this new evolved person. And what did you say? What did you say before we jumped on? You were saying like how it's going to cost you people.
Oh my God. Yeah. Growth will cost you people.
Yeah.
Growth will cost you a lot, right? It's going to cost you time and money and investment. No. Growth will cost you people. And that's actually one of my episodes. Circle is that episode. I think it's episode 6. Because there are unspoken contracts, Brock. And that's the way I like to term this. And it's agreements that were never agreed upon. But people have these unspoken contracts that they expect you to live by. And if you step outside of that, then you have broken the unspoken contract. And it sounds like this. It's live the same, do the same, be the same. Because when you rise higher than where they are, and I'm not talking about being better than them.
Right.
That's not what this is about. But when you evolve and you are no longer aligned with them, then you expose to them what they're not.
Right.
And some people can't handle that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I used to think it's their fault. It's not their fault, okay? They're being true to themselves. It is okay. It just means you're not aligned, right? Yeah. So these unspoken contracts are brutal, though.
Yeah, they are.
And you said some other things about that.
Yeah, well, I was like, one of my most shared pieces of content was, I don't want to misquote it. I said that personal growth is often socially violent. You'll lose longtime friends, family members even.
Yep.
Just remember, it's not your job to teach others how to embrace your phases of growth and change. It's not your job to teach them, but it is your job to maintain your trajectory. If you are convicted that this is where you need to go, you have to accept the fact that people aren't going to be on the ride with you. They're just not.
Right.
They can't. They don't want to. It's fine.
That's right.
Guess what's going to happen? You're going to meet people at that next junction.
That's it.
And they're waiting for you.
They're waiting for you.
They're waiting for you. You just got to get there.
Yeah.
The amount of people through my coaching journey who saw my lifestyle change and what I once was and what I am now, the amount of people who didn't support that. And, you know, when I know we're at a space now where somebody could say something negative and you're just like, I've got a breath of work underneath me. I don't care about your opinion. But in the beginning, one comment about you not being really who you are, or I see you for what you really are, like you're just faking this type of stuff. This isn't really you. Right. It hurts, but I want to encourage the people listening, and I think you as well. It's like, don't let that stop you. Don't let those opinions stop you, because they're going to try.
Yeah, and if we do let that affect us, then whose life is it? It's their life.
Right.
You know?
You're literally repeating the pattern of letting society dictate your life again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm taking ownership. This is my life, and I'm going to inhabit it and live it.
What is if we were sitting in a room in front of like a bunch of mid-20s, 25-year-old men who are seeking purpose outside of just societal expectations, what's a big piece of advice that you, Cody Sims, would try to give to them right now about making them have identity and making them feel good, but also giving them that direction? Like give them just some advice right now.
First thing is, you don't know everything. You know, and when I was early 20s, I knew it all, man. I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I knew everything, right? Until I realized I didn't. And so that's your first step, knowing what you don't know. And you really don't even know what you don't know.
So true.
But then trusting the process and being true to yourself, invest in yourself, protect your circle. And I would advise them, and, you know, this is an easy answer for me, really, because this is where I have taken my acting and modeling. You know, I'm with agencies, but, you know, it's not really so much modeling. It's, you know, it's I've done different things, but it's a lot of acting and such. It gets commingled these days, but I've taken it in a different direction, something I never saw coming, and that is now I'm using my social platforms to add value to men.
Yes.
And to with this becoming series. And so I would advise young men, middle-aged men, older men to go look at the work that I've put together. And so far I have 8 episodes. Episode 8 was just completed this week, and it'll be, by the time this podcast is released, it'll be live on YouTube. And I'm posting these into my TikTok and my Instagrams too.
Blowing up on TikTok, sir.
But yeah.
Every time we go out, someone's like, "You're the guy from TikTok."
Yeah, God, it happens all the time. Dude, I follow you on TikTok. I love your stuff, man. Yeah.
Right.
It's great. But yeah, I would advise them to go check that out, because if I can hit the episodes real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So episode 1 is what I said a moment ago. I mentioned a few, but 1 is permission. You got to give yourself permission to step into that higher version of yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
And, well, what is that? Well, that's your new identity. But it's not a new one. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who you had to be.
Yep.
Okay? So you give yourself permission. You hit the identity. You realize who you are. And then you take ownership, is episode 3.
Yeah.
Ownership of it. Okay? It's easy to say, well, this is who I am. It's a lot harder to live it.
Oof.
You got to show up now. Come on.
This is where the real work starts.
Yeah. So ownership. Well, now you're living it. Well, then, you can be living it and doing all the things. And, but if you don't inhabit your life, you can lose yourself as well. Okay. So that's another episode. And then you step into standards. You got to have standards to maintain what you built. Okay. Standards are, those decisions, those rules you live by, and that can be a whole episode in itself.
For sure.
I could blow that up.
We both could. I'm massive on standards.
Yeah, standards, and then circle, and that's where I say growth will cost you people.
Yeah,
and it's not their fault.
Sure,
you're just not aligned. And what happens though is we step back. We're like, well, wait a minute, so and so's not happy with the way I've evolved. Well, maybe I need to slow. Maybe I'm no, you're not being you. You got to be you, right?
Right.
So that is circle. Well, then once you get all that in place, maybe you're in the wrong environment to really propel you to the highest level you can be.
Yep.
And, I own a home in Chattanooga. I have a home here in Nashville as well. And so I came to Nashville because I had to get into an environment that allows me to create and reach and connect and do. And, that's where my production manager is. That's a production team. All that is here in Nashville. So the environment had to change.
Yep.
And once you get all of that in place, then you got to execute. And that's episode 8, execution.
I love that. Yeah, so many people are afraid of what it's going to actually take, the level of sacrifice and consistency that it's going to take, like you moving to Nashville, like the halftime. Because
that's so funny you said. Episode 9 is consistency. I have not told anyone that. Okay. I've told one person. My production manager knows that. But that's coming. I started building it. It's consistency.
Well, that will be the one that they will need to be waiting for then once this one's live. But you having to make that choice because you were coming up like every weekend, it seemed, and staying at a hotel, and we were even talking about this, and like, God, I think I should probably get an apartment. I was like, I think you should too. When your presence is here consistently, opportunities become consistent too. Instead of it just being like a part-time, half-time, once in a while, but you being present here. That was a decision. Like it would have been easier to just stay in Chattanooga, stay in your house on the bluff.
Yeah. And Chattanooga anchors that old version of me.
Yes, it does.
It's a beautiful version of me, but I don't accept that. Sure. I want to be, the next version of me. I want to be better, and for me to reach the people that I want to reach, the men that I want to reach and have the platform and all that, I've got to be here.
And you got to be willing to make those changes. I mean, sometimes the changes aren't as. I'll say the decision to get an apartment here was somewhat easy, but like sometimes it's not. Sometimes those decisions are gonna be uncomfortable. You've got to be willing to do the scary thing. Just do it scared. You just got to do it though. Yeah. You have to be fully committed to doing and following through. And if you're not, then it is only going to be a dream. It's only going to be a version of yourself that you wish you could one day aspire to. But you're not willing to make those changes, actionable changes.
Right.
Then nothing's ever going to actually change.
Yeah. And for young men, I want to go back to one
for sure.
One thing that just hit me. I would encourage them to be on their game, whatever their game is, whatever they're going to make money at.
Sure.
Maybe it's a business. Maybe they're going to work for a great employer. I don't know, but you got to put yourself in a position to be able to make a decision like I did. Like I'm going to keep my home in Chattanooga, but I'm getting an apartment here.
And you did it quick. You did it pretty quick.
And I can afford it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want to encourage people to to be serious about building wealth, of course, I'm a wealth advisor, right? I'm going to say something
Of course.
like that. But that's also part of becoming is being focused on your finances, your fitness,
Yes.
all the things. But you got to position yourself to win. And some people don't position themselves to win, and then they get to a point, and maybe they want to make a move like that, or like you, and come to Nashville and do podcasts like you do all the time, but they're not in a position financially to do it.
Well, doing what they can with the means in which they have is, I think, a really, really strong foundational characteristic trait that men need to evolve to, because being an inspiration such as yourself, I'm not going to say myself, but people who are on their purpose, who are a couple of years ahead of everybody, they can struggle sometimes to see, well, how can I possibly become that from where I am? It's little decisions consistently. You don't have to relocate to a new city, but hey, guess what? Maybe instead of waking up at 8 a.m., start waking up at 5. That little decision gives you more time to think about your purpose and how to build yourself and get out of the hole that a lot of young men find themselves. They're just like in this bad turn of patterns. And if you want a different type of life, you have to create new patterns. And my biggest thing is start waking up early. It is that simple. Yet it is one of the most difficult things for people to do. It's like you're literally sleeping your life away. Wake up a little earlier, prioritize yourself before the world tells you what you need to be doing. Instead of living reactively, live proactively. Wake up a little earlier, go to the gym. That's a great decision. You will never regret going to the gym.
Yeah, that's right.
Never. And it's something that gives you a win, and it's something for yourself. It's not for anybody else. Yet, everybody around you benefits from you being strong. Because guess what else? You're going to be confident. Everybody around you benefits from you taking care of yourself first. And I think there's also in society,
well, you got to love yourself to love others.
1,000%. And if you're not taking care of yourself, it's like pouring from an empty cup. And there's this societal idea that a good man is a man who's willing to sacrifice everything for everybody else. And I don't actually believe that. I think that if a man is going to be of good use to his friends, his family, to society, he needs to focus on himself first. He should eat first. He should take care of himself first, because it's kind of like an umbrella of provision. If he doesn't have that, he can't help anybody else. You literally become the thing you fear, which is a liability.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be that liability, you have to focus on yourself first.
Well, and if you don't love yourself, you can't love the people in your life like they deserve. You can't, because you don't even know how to love yourself. You're not happy with the version you are.
Yeah. So you got to make some decisions to show up for yourself. And showing up for yourself is the direct pattern to being able to love yourself, because we love through respect. If you don't have respect, you can't love yourself. So if you're not doing things that you can respect, how can you ever love yourself?
Yeah.
It's not possible. So do some difficult things. And men need to be engaging in difficult things. They need to be exercising their masculine edge. It's like when you were saying, you used to play football. That's when you were probably, you did say this. That's when you found your identity. It's because you were consistently competing against other men. You were feeling what your physical limitations were. I think men need to consistently be doing. I don't care what age you are. You need to be competing in something. You need to be pushing yourself physically. We are so connected to our physical ability. It's one of the reasons men don't like to go to the doctor. Don't tell me I'm not Superman. I need to know I am an immortal man that I can walk forever, and I'm never going to have any physical issues. If you really want to believe that, you need to take care of yourself. If you're not going to the gym, if you're not exercising, if you're not engaging in something competitive with other men, your edge just gets dull. And it's hard for you to look in the mirror knowing that you're not really competing.
Yeah. Or get to the point you compete with yourself. I compete with myself every day in the gym.
Yeah. And you know what you're physically capable of. Like, there's a confidence when you walk in down the street, or you're just in a group of people, you're like, if shit hit the fan, I know I could handle some situations. I could take care of people who are important to me. And I think, I think it was actually Shia LaBeouf. I know this is going to be a weird tangent. There's this question of, when does a man become a man? Does he become a man at 18? Does he become a man at 21? Is there an age, or is there a life experience? Is it when he has a child? Is it when he gets married? What is it? And he said something. He said, it's when a man becomes responsible for other people. And I was like, ooh, men need to be responsible for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that brings out the best in us. It's going to like make me tear up.
Mm.
When we have people who count on us, we rise to our best self. Men who don't have people that rely on them are the ones who are mentally struggling. They are looking so strongly for something to take care of and almost to die for. There's an innate instinct in us to find something that needs to be preserved to our masculine core that we're willing to sacrifice ourselves for. We're looking for something to die for. And when we don't have that, we don't have a purpose, we don't have people around us, and that could be our woman, our kids, something, we can really lose our purpose. We need something that we're willing to die for. And if we don't have something like that, it's really hard to wake up and feel good about ourselves.
Good point.
Yeah. And so young men in their 20s who haven't had that experience, but something's calling to them. It's quiet. It's in there, but it's there. And they know it's there, but they don't know what it is. It's like, what is that voice? Why am I chasing women? Why am I needing this? Because you want something that is bigger than you, something that will carry on past you, something that you would be willing to die for.
That's cool.
It's probably the biggest advice I give to those young men is to make themselves worthy of having something under their umbrella, something that they can be responsible for, but they need to be worthy of being responsible for something. If they're not taking care of themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, it's going to be very, very hard for anybody to trust you with that responsibility. And I think men do want that, but they've got to be putting in the effort. And the effort I see you putting into your day-to-day life is so inspiring with so many young men. And I just want to encourage you and men who are stepping into their authenticity to continue mentoring those young men, because we're not going to be here forever, but your ideas will.
That's right.
The impact you make, it will. And that's going to be passed down and passed down. So my advice to those men, those young men, is seek out mentors that are healed, not men who are talking from a place of hurt. Find really good mentors.
Right.
You are a mentor. How much time from your wisdom do you think you have saved people who have come into your business? Like decades of time by just having the planning and the wisdom to guide them. Young men need to find good mentors, and I think you're a phenomenal one. So,
Thank you, brother. Yeah. I think we all need to build something that's bigger than us, and that's the way I did. My practice is, it's bigger than me.
Sure.
Now, and so I'm semi-retired in it, but now I'm building something that's bigger than me as well. With helping men show up for themselves and become that higher version, and something that will last, and be a legacy even behind me there. So, and that's exciting. That's my reinvention.
That's the reinvention.
And I'm so, I have such, big plans for that too, to take that to many, many levels.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you toward the end of this episode. I guess we're about here, which is, what can people expect to see from you in 2026 and beyond? I mean, your star is rising, but like people who are catching you right now, what are you hoping Cody Sims looks like over the next year or two?
Better, just want to be better at what I'm focused on. So very intentional, being very intentional about everything, but taking it to new levels, which, will involve an ebook, will involve also a book, and have conferences and with breakout sessions, and
you were mentioning something about that.
Just a lot of things. I won't say anymore, but we're talking about a lot. We may not do any of those. Who knows? We may do all of those and more.
Well, I look forward to seeing the impact that you continue having in men's lives and women's lives. Everyone's watching. Don't forget that. Everybody's watching.
Yeah.
And the responsibility of that, knowing that you are having an impact in people's lives, is something that we as, when jokingly say this, we as influencers, we should be taking very seriously. The things that we say carry weight for people who we will never see. So we should take that very seriously. And I know you do. And I can't wait to see the impact that you continue having with men and women. And anything like that is very, very welcome in society in today's day and age, because people are looking for answers. And I think you are somebody that they can turn to for those answers.
Well, it's easy for me because I have lived every single thing I'm preaching.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not making this shit up.
I know you're not.
I've lived it, and I'm still living it, and I want to continue to do it. There's no end to what I'm doing as far as, the way that I'm going to proceed with helping and building this brand. But I'm here for it.
Well, tell everybody, if they wanted to find you on social media, YouTube, all that, where they can find you. What's your YouTube channel? Go ahead and tell everybody.
YouTube is Cody Sims Becoming. And you'll see that there are 7 episodes out there right now. Episode 8 will land here within the next week. And we may wrap this at episode 9, which is consistency, and then branch from there. And we have some plans I was just discussing yesterday. But that's where we'd find. Also, I use my Instagram and TikTok platforms and Facebook to use or to post like clips from those videos onto there to drive traction to the YouTube, since the YouTube is brand new. It's only been there like 2 weeks.
Right.
I've got like no followers yet, That's just very little followers.
That's how it starts.
Follow is brand new.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Well, if people wanted to reach out to you, say because you are impacting and being influential, and maybe there's young men that would like to get some advice and bend your ear, how should they reach out to you? How should they message you? I mean, is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is that okay? Is that okay to reach out to you in that way?
Yeah, sure. Any of those. So it can be on YouTube as well. But to get directly to me would be, I'd say, either TikTok or Instagram.
Okay.
Or Facebook if they're on Facebook. Some people.
So we can find you on all these. Okay. What's your TikTok and what's your Instagram?
Yeah, TikTok is Cody Sims, but it's _Cody .Sims _, and that's the same way that Instagram is.
Instagram as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're pretty responsive. Like you're watching.
Yeah.
You're paying attention.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm very responsive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Cody, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on my podcast, Dating Today. It's been an honor. I love having you in my life. You influence me every single day. Having you in my social circle just makes me feel like we're pushing each other. I look at you, we're just trying to have the best positive impact for society as much as we possibly can. So keep doing exactly what you're doing. And I look forward to maybe we'll have another conversation like this in a year, see kind of how Cody is continuing on becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the value that you've added into my life too, brother. I love you.
I appreciate that. I love you too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you guys have any comments or any questions about today's episode, you want to ask Cody some questions about his life and his story, feel free to leave those in the comments, or you can actually reach out to me or Cody in our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything that can get messages to us. Feel free to leave those, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Add it up.